Welcome to the second episode of our Lancer series, everyone. We'll actually be diving into the character creation process this episode, we promise. But before we get there, we do have some announcements as usual. We've been getting great responses from everyone about topics they would love to hear on our Evolution Cast episodes, as well as different actual plays to keep in mind for some unique games that we would love to cover. So definitely keep those ideas coming. You can give us some ideas on our Discord server at discord.charactercreationcast.com or hit us up directly on Twitter at CreationCast. Another thing that you could help us with, dear listeners, is reviews. We are currently hovering around 50 reviews and could use your help with rating some more to help us move up in the rankings. By doing that, more people can find the show, which means our community grows. And I think that's pretty sweet. Now, we don't have any other announcements right now, aside from maybe you heard about the Audioverse Awards. So congratulations to everybody that won, but a special congratulations to a few people on the One Shot Network. I know Campaign Pod, Horror Borealis, and the Broadswords all had some really, really great awards happening there. So definitely reach out to them and give them some good congratulations because it is so well deserved. They are all top-notch podcasts and all top-notch people on said podcasts. So if you want to see the full list of winners, you can go to the Audioverse Awards Twitter account, and they do have a tweet there that shows a link right to their page of all the winners. I think everybody crashed their website today, but hopefully by the time this episode comes out, those things are fixed. So, enjoy the show. We've got some really great stuff coming up, and I really love the characters that we made here. This game is a lot of fun, and I know we both had a lot of fun making characters and mechs for this game. So, coming right at you, here's Lancer with the game designers from Massif Press. Enjoy.
The last piece that we have to go over before we can dive into like our actual character creation here.
We're making characters on the show?
Yeah, we're going to make it eventually. We'll get there, maybe.
I'm sorry. I told you I talk a lot.
Hey, that's fine. We just want to run over like basic terms and concepts for people. So like some of the language that we're going to be using as we go through this, just so people kind of know. I've pulled a couple in our outline that I think we should talk about. But if there's anything in particular that you think we should. The first one I noted was license level.
That's right.
So if you want to explain that.
License level is like your level in another RPG. Describes, your access to materials, how experienced your character is. That's it. It goes from 1 to 12. Oh, sorry, 0 to 12.
0 to 12. Also, on the thematic side of it, too, there is, I think we intentionally chose license because we did want to couch your player inside of certain systems, be they sort of political or well, I mean, they're all political, but political or otherwise. Your character is someone who has access to these things. and that's part of the reason why they are sort of the heroes of this game is not necessarily because they are special in this sort of like standard fantasy or even science fiction sense of being sort of fated or chosen. They're literally the people that they are because they have through
experience, materials, and resources.
Yeah, they have access. And it's an important thing to note.
License level actually it's very literal. So in the universe in Lancer, you have a license for a particular mech, and the number of licenses you have is your license level. That's it. Pretty simple.
That's pretty cool.
Because Lancer, the core of Lancer is a post-scarcity setting, so there is no limitation to materials, that kind of thing. So you can just print a mech off, 3D print it, and that's one of the big things about the game is that like your mech ultimately is replaceable. You can just print it if it's destroyed, and you always have access to anything you have under your license level. They're your character options. You don't have to buy a new mech if your mech gets destroyed or lost or whatever. You can print a new one. That's
another part of the setting too. Is like the thing itself that's important is the player and the person that they are. And one of the reasons we talked about it a bit earlier with the sort of death being an important thing and cloning being a thing in this, but not without its own complications, is that the mech is just a tool. It's just a thing,
right?
And in an anomaly post scarcity setting, there is still scarcity, and in this case, your character's life.
Right.
And sure, that's license level.
Yeah,
very cool.
Right. Triggers was the other one that I noted here.
Yeah, so triggers are a bit like a skill in an RPG, but I wanted to use the word triggers because I don't like how a lot of games handle skill checks. And in Lancer, you are going to make a skill check only when it's relevant. So the term trigger is literally your skill can trigger here, and you can use it in this situation. But otherwise, you're not going to use it. And I wanted to make things very like... not deterministic, but I wanted to make sure that if you make a skill check, you're making it for a reason, that it's going to accomplish something, and that you're doing something that's relevant to your pilot's personal experience or abilities or whatever, automatically. There's no like list of skills in Lancer. You just pick the triggers that are relevant to you, and they crop up, you apply them to your role. Otherwise, you're just going to be making a 1d20 versus 10. That's every roll in Lancer for skill checks is just 1d20, get a 10 or higher, you're successful. And it gets a little more complicated than that. But that's why we use the word triggers. Also, it has kind of a military vibe to it, I think.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
I think so. And then the last one I put down here is grit.
Yeah, grit's just half of your license level. And it's just half your level. But we wanted thematically it to represent like your actual like experience and veterancy as your character. It's a bit like the proficiency bonus in D&D.
Yeah, it's a very generalized term. I think one that sort of can be also divorced from the like professionalization or something, right? Like everyone has a certain level of grit to them. Everyone listening to this podcast does. I can't say that. It's really hard to get through day-to-day life. And I mean, they're like everyone has a bit of grit to them, and this is just a mechanical way of
representing that. If you've been around for that long, you're going to be, you're going to have more. You're going to be really tough. So that's what it represents. Half your level, pretty simple.
That's very cool. Well, is there anything else? Any other terms that we should know before we dive in quick?
So for a license, they go from 1 to 3 levels. And the licenses refer to individual mechs. So you might say, I have a license in the Vlad, for example, 1 or 2 or 3. Oh. And then you might pick and choose between those different mechs and combine them in different combinations and stuff. At level 0, which is where everyone makes their characters, you don't have to worry about any of that. So, but I just thought I'd mention it because it might, if you're using the character creation app, it might ask you some questions about that.
I'd also say in terms for just specifically related to character creation, background is important. It's basically self-explanatory, but to say what it is in the context of Lancer, one's backgrounds does not necessarily need to define exactly what your character was doing, but sort of I would urge folks when making their characters to think of it more as a thematic suggestion as to who your character was before they got in the mech.
That reminds me, actually, there's one more thing we should talk about, which is the core mechanics in the game. So you're always going to roll 1d20, and you're going to add a flat number, and then you might add accuracy or difficulty, and you're trying to beat a target number. And I'll explain briefly accuracy or difficulty, because it might come up, for example, with backgrounds. And that's real simple. It is, if you have accuracy, you're going to add a d6 to that 1d20 roll. And if you have additional accuracy, you roll more d6s and pick the highest. So for example, if I made a roll with 3 accuracy, I'd roll 1d20 plus 3d6. And if the highest of those rolls was, say, a 5, I'd add 5 to my roll. And then you might add another flat bonus like grit or something. Difficulty is the opposite. It's d6 and then you minus it from the total roll. And accuracy and difficulty cancel out 1 to 1. So if I have a roll with 1 accuracy and 1 difficulty, it'd just be a flat roll. Pretty simple. And what that does is it means that if you're stacking all these little bonuses up, they can only go so high. So it kind of limits that mechanically, but it's also a very easy way to track like things I'm good at. And I mention it because it might ask you to, certain weapons and stuff might have accuracy or difficulty applied to them. You can always invoke your background for an accuracy on a skill check that you think you're going to be good at, because like I'm a colonist, I get a cool accuracy here because I'm making a skill check about farming or something. That might be relevant. But I think that's it as far as terms.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Are we ready to do this?
I'm ready.
All right.
Suppose so.
Yes, as ready as we're going to be.
Did you need to split, Miguel? Because it's a...
Yeah, I was going to ask. So should I... I'm happy to record a little sign off if you want.
Yeah, I think this is probably a good spot, Ryan, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely. Miguel, thank you so much for joining us for this,
no worries.
This portion.
Thanks for having me on. This was great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lopez.
Of course. Make a cool character, Tom.
Safe journey.
All right. Should we make some people?
Yeah, let's make some people.
I'm ready.
Awesome.
Let's make some people.
All right.
Okay.
So Miguel did have to step out. Unfortunately, won't be able to join us for the character creation process, as well as the discussion episode. But you'll be able to hear his sign off after we're done here.
We're just stuck with Tom.
I know. Damn, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
So I have the program pulled up.
Yeah.
And so, I think that, honestly, if we want to, we can run through, because it seems like the way the program works is to kind of run through it the same way that the book does. It just has the options in here.
I think it does. Yeah, I think it does. I was going to maybe do it the way the book presents it, because I don't actually have CompCon downloaded on this computer.
Yeah, that's fine. We can go by the book, too. I have that open as well.
Yep.
I don't know how you guys want to do it. I'm very happy to take points and kind of run through it with you guys, if you'd like,
Perfect.
and then we can kind of do it together. And you tell me if CompCon is giving you something different, or but it's not too difficult.
I also printed out some characters.
Oh, nice,
here,
awesome!
So I can do it the old school way.
Okay, I love it. Thank you. Okay, cool. Well, so in Lancer we treat the pilot and the mech a little bit differently. So your pilot mostly will be doing lots of narrative stuff, and the mech is almost exclusively for tactical combat stuff. So we'll do the pilot first, and then we'll get to making the mech. And if you have your core book open, if you flip, everything starts on page 18 in the core book. And in Lancer, you start at license level 0. That means you have no license levels in anything. You're kind of a rookie. And the reason you do this is because there's a tremendous amount of character options in the game. And so by starting at LL0, you have very, very few options comparatively. And then as you level up, you can pick, incrementally the things that you're interested in acquiring. So it makes it a little bit easier for you, puts less of a burden of decision on you. So the very first thing we're going to do is build your pilot. And the pilot has 2 components. It kind of has 3 components, but it really only has 2 components. The first one is a background, which is where your pilot comes from. And your background does one thing in the game, which is that if your GM or you decide think that your background would be relevant in a situation, you can get an accuracy on a skill check, or you can get a difficulty on a skill check. So it'll make things easier or harder for you. And then you can write down some triggers based on that background. And the triggers are basically Lancer's skills, but you only write down the things that are relevant to you. Mm-hmm. So you're going to first get a background, and then you're going to write down 4 triggers, I believe.
I think I read 4.
Yes,
yep.
4 triggers at +2. That's the number you add to a d20 when you're trying to make a skill check. And then that's pretty much it as far as the pilot goes. So the first thing I'm going to do is write down or roll for or pick a background for your character. There's a table on page 20 in the book if you want to roll for a background.
Yeah, I kind of want to roll for it.
I do too.
I don't know.
I do too.
I love, you know how I feel, Ryan. We did a whole panel. It was just like random rolling from various table. Like we took random tables from a bunch of different RPGs and then randomly rolled on them.
Oh, nice.
And made some really stupid characters.
Excellent.
I'm going to put hard quotes around stupid.
I love tables because they are a very easy way for you to get right into building a character, and they give you a lot of like cool prompts to draw from, as well as they tell you setting information. I think in some degree like they are setting tables. Yeah. So I kind of enjoy it. So I'm gonna make a roll here. I'm gonna see what my character is.
Sweet. I'm gonna roll as well. Let's see.
I
what
got
happens.
a 19. So my character is a starship pilot.
Ooh, I got a 7. That makes me a medic.
There you go.
Ryan, edit out all of this dice noise here.
Nope.
I'm trying to find a 20. It's underneath all of my L5R dice.
What? Why doesn't L5R use a D20 like a normal game?
Nice.
It uses 6s and 12s.
Okay, fine.
Okay, I got 11, which is outlaw.
Ooh.
Nice. Very good. And if you want to see a little summary of what that means in Lancer, you can actually scroll down and the game actually will give you a little blurb on each one. And some setting information about them. So for example, for my starship pilot, it'll tell me stuff about starships. It'll also tell you some example triggers there. And triggers, like I said, are sort of like the skill list, and you're going to pick 4 of them at +2. And the game gives you a suggestion for like which 4 you might pick. So for example, you might see that for starship pilot, it says get somewhere fast, show off, get a hold of something, hack or fix. And those are kind of my triggers. And all that means is when I am hacking or fixing something, I get +2. When I am showing off, I get +2. When I want to get somewhere fast, I get +2. Pretty simple.
And you can make up your own as well, right?
You can make up your own as well. You could write your own. I've seen people in the game write down a trigger that was complete obliviousness. So that was just their trigger. So whenever they were being completely oblivious, they got +2 of the roll, which was kind of fun.
That's interesting.
They work very well as like a little action phrase. And you can see a list of them. I've given a list of example ones on page 26 to 27. And you want to write down 4 of those and give them +2. They only come in +2, +4, and +6. And they all start at +2 for you. That's it.
So for medic, they suggest patch, assault, read a situation, and stay cool. So I might use that for inspiration.
And if you want to see an explanation of what those example triggers mean, you can look down in the trigger section. It'll tell you a little bit about them. And these are very much not like a skill list. You don't have to write all of them out. Some people thought for a long time that you had to write every single trigger out and then add lots of little +0s in there. But it's actually not the case. It's just the stuff that's relevant to you. This is not like a list of competencies. It's a list of things that your pilot is good at. Specifically. I am just going to take the example triggers because they're really fun. Although I am going to take the trigger apply fist to faces.
I like that one. I was looking at that one.
Oh, this is really interesting. So one of them they had was assault.
Yes.
For mine, which is get a bonus when you're assaulting a position, person, or group of people, hard, fast, and up close. I don't think I want to go that way with the character, so I get to pick something else that's cool.
Ryan, I love that you ended up with medic. Like,
right?
I got outlaw. Like it's
nice.
That's correct.
Yep.
That's our Ryan always plays a good guy healer, and I always pick the worst person possible.
Oh, nice.
Sometimes they're a little bit naughty.
Perfect.
That's right, a little bit naughty.
Something else you can do if you have time. and I'm already doing this because I'm quite familiar with this game already, which is the only other thing you have to worry about your pilot. Like I said, there's a kind of a third component to your pilot, is what if your pilot gets out of the mech in the middle of combat, which is something you can do. Or if we have to worry about getting shot or getting hurt, in the narrative as a pilot, your pilot does have some game statistics, and those are on page 28. You can write them down now if you feel like it.
Okay.
Don't have to necessarily. You'll also pick pilot gear before embarking on a mission. And we can get to that once you guys are done with your triggers.
Okay.
Which triggers did you guys choose?
I picked read the situation,
Nice.
charm,
Very good.
stay cool,
Excellent.
and show off.
Nice.
Very good.
I went with stay cool, patch, read a situation, and act unseen and unheard.
Nice. And you'll notice that like the games, they're all very like active things, right? I don't want it to be a passive check ever. I want it's got a trigger, it's got to come up, rather than the GM being like, make this check for me. It's going to be like, I want to do this. Okay, make this check for me.
Yep.
So that was sort of somewhat important to me. I picked get somewhere fast, show off, hack or fix, and apply fist to faces. Because I feel like I'm making like a rowdy person. I don't know who they are, but they're probably rowdy. They're a little bit like, So you can write down your pilot stats if you feel like it. Not necessary. I think ComCon might ask you to pick some gear as well. But you only really need to worry about pilot gear before you go on a mission.
Okay.
If you would like to see the pilot gear and see what the gear looks like, I've put everything in the game that's like gear related after all the rules. And it's in its own section called the Compendium. In the book, that's on page 108. And you can see the pilot gear up there, and you can see like the kind of weapons and armor you can take. But the pilot gear is it's just there narratively, or if you get out of your mech in the middle of combat, which is not something I'm expecting everyone to do.
No.
And there are some interesting and cool items you can take. I think you can take like a weapon, a piece of armor, and I think like 2 or 3 other pieces of gear. CompCon might ask you to list those out.
I don't know. I got stuck because it makes you put in a name right away, and I can't do that.
Oh, that's tough. Yeah, okay.
I didn't get past that first page because I don't have a name. I suppose I can go back and change it.
Is that under the identification stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, I might make you do a name and a call sign.
You can do a random. There's a little random button on.
Oh, there is a randomizer. Yeah, that's quite good actually. Yeah.
I'll go change that when I need to. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
There's a lot of good names in here.
There are some great names.
Okay, that's nice. What was my outlaw?
I have a name for this. I have a name for this person. I think they're going to be. Here we go. Yeah, there you go. My character's name is Lucius P. Abercrombie.
Oh, excellent.
That's amazing.
There we go.
I am naming my character Liliana Quintel.
Nice. Very good.
And call sign Rhapsody.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
As is tradition, I will not name my character until the end.
That's very smart, and usually I do the same. I'm actually not going to name my call signs anything till the end either, I think. So, is it making you pick pilot gear? Would you like now
it's telling me talents, mech skills.
Right. It does make you do talents before looking at the mech stuff, which I somewhat disagree with. So, but I think I don't know if John is working on it.
I think I can skip to mech skills.
Okay, cool.
So I get mech skills. No equipment there though, but there's a compendium.
Oh, cool. Okay, so it's asking you to do mech skills.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the next one in here.
All right. So we're done with the pilot. That's the pilot. Pretty simple.
Ta-da! We did it.
You may want to pick pilot gear later, but that's mostly for flavor and stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to see that, if you want to check it out in the meantime, I believe it is just on pages like 108, 110 in the book, and there's some little tables you can roll there for stuff. But we might have to do it anyway at some point. So let's talk briefly about mechs. So in Lancer, your pilot and your mech are 2 different components of the same character, and your mech it consists of a couple of different components that kind of all fit together. So the main thing in a mech is you're going to pick a mech frame, which is like the core of your mech. Like, what is your mech? At level 0, we get one choice, which is the Everest. Everyone gets the Everest at level 0. That's it. You don't have any choice for that. It's a great mech. And you can see the Everest and what it looks like on page... let me find this. It actually doesn't have art either. Page 123 in the core book, if you're curious about that. And what that is, the frame of the mech is like the core, what it does. You have a core ability, which is a thing you can activate like once during your mission. So it's a bit like an ultimate if you think about it, like like Overwatch terms, whatever. And sometimes it has like a passive component. And there's some other little numbers there, and I'll kind of go through them. And every mech has traits which help differentiate it. The Everest has its own set of traits. Mm-hmm. And the way you build a mech is you have three main components. The first one is you have your mech skills or your mech stats. And those are the things that describe you personally, how good you are at building and controlling a mech. And those are the things we're going to choose in a second. And those change like the base statistics of the mech, like HP, speed, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. The second thing is weapons. And weapons come in various sizes, and you can only pick the sizes that your mech has mounts for. So for example, you'll see that the Everest has a main, a flex, and a heavy mount, meaning that I can put 3 weapons on there, and I can only put like 1 heavy weapon on there because I can't fit the heavy weapon into the main mount. It's like doing Legos. And some mechs will have different mounts, some will have other ones. And finally, you have SP, and SP is system points, and that allows you to add systems to your mech that will do cool things like, grenades or cover or smoke grenades or what have you, which will specialize your mech further. You following along so far?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then finally, the last thing you'll do after, I usually like to do the mech first and then pick afterwards because then I sort of know what I'm doing, is you'll pick some talents. And talents are a little bit like feats in other systems like D&D. They are things specific to your pilot. They are representing your pilot's actual combat skill with mechs. And they let you do cool things in combat, like your pilot's abilities, and are very unique to your pilot. So let's start with the mech skills. So when you and you can see, by the way, a summary of this on page 30 in the core book. When you envision your character's mech, what kind of mech do you envision? There are 4 mech skills in this game. One is hull, one is agility, one is systems, and one is engineering. Hull is for tough, resilient mechs. It increases your HP and it increases the repairs that your mech has. Agility is for fast, evasive mechs and makes your mech faster, and it makes your mech harder to hit, raises your mech's evasion. And systems is for hacking mechs, like electronic warfare. So it makes your mech better at hacking and defending from being hacked. And it also gives your mech more system points, so you can fit more systems in there. And then finally, engineering is for mechs that like to use very high-tech stuff. You have a good reactor in your mech, because your mech can actually, it has like a cool reactor in it, and certain systems will cost heat. And so engineering will both increase your capacity to fit those like more advanced systems in there, and also will increase the number of things like mines or grenades or other things, like gives you more ammunition basically to fit in your mech. So do you think your mech's like a tough mech, a fast mech, an evasive mech, or like a kind of tricky, like high-tech mech? What do you think it is?
I picture mine as being like pretty durable.
Okay.
Pretty like...
So you probably want to put 2 points into hull. Is what I think. So you get 2 +2 and 1 mech skill, or you get 1 and 2. That's it at level 1.
Yeah.
All right.
I went all in on agility.
Nice. That's very smart. All right. Cool. I'm gonna put mine in engineering just to be a contrarian.
All right.
And these actually work a little more like traditional skills in RPGs. For example, you might be asked to make an engineering check, a hull check, or a save, for example. Will still help you a little more in combat as well. Many things will be like, I threw a grenade, and you need to make an agility save to get out of the way of it. So, and I think Compcom will do this for you, but it will actually adjust your mech stats based on which ones you chose. But if it doesn't, let me know and we can do it manually.
Yep, I got those.
You got that? Cool. What's Compcom asking you to do next?
So, let's see, talents.
It's asking you to pick talents?
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe let's go through that, and let's do that right now, and then you can adjust it later if you feel like it.
Sure.
So talents very simply are the things that you're like character's abilities, the things that your pilot differentiates your pilot from other pilots. Now, I know you guys had mentioned in the pre-thing to the show that you think about roles, right? Like who's going to be the healer, the tank, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And there is a degree of that in Lancer. However, characters by themselves are tough enough and dish out enough damage and stuff to not. You don't really need to have like a healer in your party, for example. Mm-hmm. You can, and it's well supported by the system. But you can basically sort of play the character you want to play and be reasonably effective. It's very hard to make a weak character in this game. You also notice that your character's personal skills in the story, like their narrative skills, are dissociated from their mech skills for a reason. Because I didn't want it to be like, I really want to play a wizard, but my int's really low, or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So your combat skills, the mech stuff, is separated out from your narrative abilities. So you can always play the kind of character you want to play. So talents, very simply, you pick 3 of them at rank 1, and then you can level them up as you level up. And list of talents you can find in the core book on page 90 if you want to see an overview of them. Mm-hmm. Talents might refer to a lot of game mechanics and things we haven't really talked about. So very roughly, tell me what you think your character is good at, and I'll give you some recommendations if you like. Or you can flip through and just look at the flavor or the summary of each talent and maybe see which ones you think is relevant for your character. For example, I think my guy is probably some kind of fancy lad, and and he's a starship pilot. So I think I'm probably gonna pick Grease Monkey here. Nice. I'm gonna pick. Let's see. I'm gonna pick leader because I think I need to boss people around.
I like it.
And I am going to pick Stormbringer, which is just focused around launchers and like missiles and stuff.
Oh, nice.
So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, so 2 of them stood out to me right away. Duelist.
Nice.
For gaining +1 accuracy on the first melee attack of your turn.
Yeah.
And then Tactician, where you gain once per round +1 accuracy on any melee attack if one ally is in melee as well.
That's a good one.
I like those. Now, I was looking through here, and some of them are talking about soft cover.
Yes. So talent. The reason that I usually like to do talents after I look at the mech available stuff and read through the rules is because they often reference game mechanics that you would have read back. Like all the talents are at the back of the book for a reason, because I would prefer people to read through the admittedly, there's 50 pages of combat rules or whatever in there before they kind of have an idea of what they're looking for. But as you can probably see, there is enough like flavor and stuff in there that you can kind of get a sense for what you might want to be picking. Soft cover is merely a cover in this game. If you have cover, it's either soft, which is like light obscurement, like smoke or trees or something that couldn't necessarily block bullets, or it's hard cover, which is a thing you can hide behind. Like XCOM cover, kind of.
Okay.
And so soft cover gives you 1 difficulty on attacks against that target, and hard cover is 2 difficulty.
Oh,
pretty
okay.
simple.
Very cool.
Yeah, hard as a hit.
Yeah.
You can't really go wrong. And another thing about this game as well is that when you level up, you can actually allocate points from any one of your licenses or talents to any other one. So you can always respec your character. I don't like games in which it's like, I didn't make an optimized character, and I guess I'm stuck with it now unless the GM...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I found my 3rd one.
Well, which one do you pick?
Exemplar.
Oh, nice. Yeah, very good.
So the first time I attacked a hostile creature on my turn, as long as it's within range 3, then hit or miss, I can give it an Exemplar's mark as a free action. Yeah. And then the Exemplar's mark, once per round when an ally attacks and misses, you can allow them to re-roll the attack, and they have to use that second result. Yeah,
that's just like this sort of melee, like I'm an honorable knight, and I'm going to challenge you to a duel kind of thing. Are you thinking about making like a melee focused character?
I believe so. Yeah. That's mostly what I was thinking about there. Fast melee type of mech.
I'll have some mechs to recommend to you then. The thing
I can't pick a 3rd one.
The thing I've tried to do in this game, me and Miguel have worked very hard on this to make sure that like a lot of those archetypes are represented. And so if you want to make a fast melee mech, I'd be like, well, you want the Morning Cloak, you want the Nelson, you might even want the Tokugawa, which are very fun. And we can, I guess, talk about that later. But the thing is, at level 0 in this game, you only have one mech frame to choose from.
Yeah.
So it does limit your options, but intentionally, because otherwise you're picking from 28 licenses with 3 levels of equipment. So
yeah,
that's too much.
but it's very fun to, once you've made your character, go and look at the compendium and be like, ooh, that's what I want in the future. I'm going to work towards that and begin to build that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like shopping.
All right, so I picked Skirmisher.
Nice.
So I get soft cover at the beginning of my turn. I picked, hold on, I have to scroll. I picked Juggernaut.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. When you take a boost action, the next ram attack you make before the start of your next turn knocks your target back 2 spaces. Let's see. Where's the other one I picked? Where did it go?
Oh, so you...
I picked Gunslinger.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I should mention as well, in this game, the mech skills affect your building your mech, but they mostly affect your mech's durability and skill checks and stuff. The actual attack rolls in this game are handled by grit. So you're always effective at attacking no matter what level you are, except for E-Warfare, which is systems. That's the exception, but it's like its own little thing. So I didn't want to build a game where it's like, oh, I didn't put all my points in hull, so I'm bad at melee combat. You can be good at melee combat if you're an agility character, if you're a hull character or a systems character, no matter what you choose, basically. So don't worry too much about your mech skills affecting your, ability to punch people.
Yeah.
That's determined by your talents and weapons and stuff you take. Cool. Okay. Good stuff. So you were thinking about making like a heavy melee fighter. I'm gathering. Nice. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
You will probably want to eventually look at IPS North Star mechs. That seems up your alley.
No, I have to go back to the book. As I'm playing with the random name thing right now.
Oh, nice.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. I found a good name. Okay.
Oh, perfect. Good.
That's interesting. I really like how you can go to the compendium in this program and sort by the different mech stats and stuff.
Yeah, it's very, very thorough. So what step are we doing next? What is it asking us to do now?
So that was it for me in ComCon.
Oh, great. Okay, now it's just good to pick the mechs and stuff, right?
I think so.
Sweet. Okay, so we have one mech to choose, which is the Everest. So you should go into the compendium there and pick the GMS Everest, because that's our mech frame at license level 0. And I think you have to make a new mech. There's like a button you can do to make one in there. And if you're confused about these mech stats, don't worry. If you want a summary of them and you're a little confused, they're on page 34, and they're all mostly combat stuff. But they're the same for everyone right now because we're all the same mech.
Yeah. If you go to when you create your character, when you commit your character, and you select, where am I?
Yeah, I saw like your name's up at the top.
Yep, your name's at the top, and you pull the pull down, and you go to the mechaner. That's where you can add a new mech. So I'm going to create a new mech. We select the Everest. Sweet. Okay.
There's going to be all kinds of clicking.
Cool.
All right.
So you've got the Everest. You got the Everest pulled up?
Yep, and it's asking me for a designation.
Yeah, you need a name for that thing.
Oh, we named so we have a call sign. We have a name. And our mech has a name.
Oh, it's got to have a name.
Oh.
Oh, this one doesn't have it does have a random. Okay. I got it. That's right.
It has a great random name generator, actually.
These are so good.
They're very good.
Discourse on the nature of actions. Huge if true.
Senseless act of beauty.
I think I'm going to go with riskiest assumption.
They're very good. They're very thematical.
Yeah.
As well.
I'm going to go with silent crescendo.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh.
If
I could spell crescendo.
Cool. I have names in my mech Tangent Royal.
Nice.
And my name is my call sign is Keeps, as in plays for keeps.
Oh, I almost got it.
My call sign is Valhalla.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yep.
Excellent.
I'm sticking with Rhapsody for my call sign.
Cool.
All right.
So now, none of us took systems, so this actually gets pretty simple. So for the Everest, you've got those 3 mounts to pick weapons for, and you have 6 system points to buy systems with. You can actually, I think, if you go into CompCon, it will automatically adjust your stats based on the mech skills that you have. Mm-hmm. So if you have hull, it'll actually give you an extra repair and 4 more HP because you have 2 hull. If you have agility, it'll give you some evasion and speed because you have agility. And for me, it'll give me more grenade uses and stuff and more heat. Nice. Now you've got 3 weapons to choose, and you've got 6 system points to spend on systems. If you want to look at them in the book, they are on page, there's a big table on page 119 with all the weapons, and then the systems are on the following pages. Pretty simple, just like 3 pages of stuff. And I think CompCon will let you just choose from that based on what you have available to you at your license level. So I took a talent that requires me to use launchers, which is like rockets and missiles and stuff. So I'm going to obviously pick something that lines up with that, I think.
Yeah.
You'll see sometimes the weapons will have tags. I believe you can look at that in CompCon directly, but you can also search in the PDF for what the tags will do. There's a list of them at some point. For example, a loading weapon, you have to load it before you use it again.
Okay.
An accurate weapon is accurate. An inaccurate weapon is you get 1 inaccuracy when firing with it, or 1 difficulty.
Ooh, energy damage. Nice.
Okay. I'm sorry, what page?
Page 119.
Okay.
And then the systems are on page 120 and 121. That's actually what you have available for you at LL0. It's just those 3 pages of stuff.
Very nice.
And the Everest has a heavy mount, a flex mount, and a main mount. The heavy mount will take any weapon of heavy or lower. The main mount will take any weapon of main or smaller. And a flex mount will either take 1 main weapon or 2 auxiliary weapons. And those are like small weapons, like pistols. So, for example, for my character, I have a heavy mount, so I should probably put something cool in there. So I am going to get let's see. I'm going to get the good old heavy machine gun to go in there. And then for a main weapon, I'm going to just do the good old assault rifle. And then for auxiliary weapons, since I have a launcher, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 2 missile racks and put those in my flex mount. Ooh. So I have these missiles I can fire out and proc my my cool talent. And since those are auxiliary, I can stick 2 of them in that flex mount.
Oh, wow.
You guys have exactly the same setup as me, so you can pick a heavy, main, and then like either a main or 2 aux weapons to go in there. You can also put, if you want, 3 main weapons, because you could put a smaller weapon in that heavy mount if you want.
Interesting. Let's see. So primary loadout, I went with, so if you have a weapon in your main mount and a flex mount, can you use them both at the same time? So if they're melee?
Yeah, in the game, the way that the game works is you can either attack with 1 weapon or 2 smaller weapons and then do something else.
Okay.
Or you can attack with 2 weapons, or 1 mount or 2 mounts, basically.
Okay.
So it's a barrage or a skirmish is what it's called. So a skirmish is just attack with weapons from 1 mount. Barrage is attack with weapons from 2 mounts.
Okay. So I kept it simple for myself. I went with charged blade for both my flex mount and my main mount.
Yeah, there you go.
And then
from 2 swords, basically.
Yeah, and then my heavy mount, I went with heavy charged blade.
There you go, even better. Yeah, good choice. Yeah. So I'm all ranged, you're all melee. That's good.
Uh-huh.
So you just keep them off me.
Yeah.
We should be okay.
And then I've got, it says select a system.
Yes, now you have 6 system points to spend on systems. And you can find a list of eligible systems for GMS. By the way, GMS is General Massive Systems. It's the mech manufacturer that is available to literally anyone at any license level. So it's kind of the default stuff. It's what you always have available to you.
Okay.
It's good. It's not the stuff you actually want to replace. It's actually very competitive. There's some people who play the Everest all the way to like license level 12.
Interesting.
And they don't ever get anything else because it's a pretty good mech. But yeah, this is kind of the ubiquitous like Amazon or like Walmart of mechs, basically, that is run by Union, which is like the in-setting governing body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can find your stuff to put in your mech on page 120 and 121 in the PDF. You get 6 points to spend on those. Because I have engineering, I get more limited uses. I get +1 to all limited things. I also took the talent Grease Monkey, which means when we take a little rest, I can spend some of my own repairs to replenish some of those limited charges. So I am going to take a lot of grenades, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to take these Pattern B hex charges. I'm going to spend 2 points in that. I'm going to take some smoke charges, Pattern A smoke charges, and then I am going to take the personalizations and the custom paint job for 1 SP each, which puts me up to 6.
I love this.
And you can kind of just like choose what you think is, the role you want to fill. So if you want to be in melee, I'd recommend maybe taking like a flight system. Like you can take a jump jet that will let you fly into melee and get in there faster. Personalizations just gives you 2 HP. Mm-hmm. And it also lets you get an accuracy if you describe your personalization to your mech and the GM agrees that it would give you an accuracy on a skill check. So you might say like, my mech's got a sound system in it, or it's got like I don't know, like a extra cooking station, or a cool compartment for my dog to ride its battle with me or something. If a system is unique, you can only take it once. So, for example, personalizations is unique, so you can only take one of them. Or these grenade systems that I'm taking, you can only do them once.
All right, I got to do it just because that's really cool. Okay, I went with flight system. Mm-hmm. So GMS Type 1 flight system for 3 points. Mm-hmm. GMS Ava module for 1 point.
Oh, nice.
That lets me go into lower zero gravity and submarine environments without penalties to my flying.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you already have a flight system, you actually don't have to worry about that. So you don't even need the Ava module. Yeah, you're good.
Oh, sweet. Well, then I'll change that to something
That's
cool.
3 points. Yeah.
So then I also chose the burst jump jet system. Or do I not need that too?
So if you have, whatever you have in there, it's going to be the best form of that. You have the best form of that right now with your flight system.
So I can just get rid of those things and get
something else. Yeah.
Something else. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do that. Never mind. Come back to me.
What you looking at, Amelia?
I don't know.
It's pretty simple. I'll point to the CompCon assistant unit. It's an AI that goes in your mech. AI in Lancer are very interesting, and I won't really go into it now, but basically it'll let your mech run itself if you want to hop out of it mid-battle for whatever reason, which could be pretty useful.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. So in a narrative thing, you could get out, you could negotiate with people, you could hack a terminal or open a door or something while your mech is defending you. Fairly useful. Mm-hmm. You can't really go wrong with choosing anything here. I would recommend personalizations. The shield's pretty good. Any kind of flight system can be pretty fun, especially if you're thinking about going melee.
Yeah, so I went with the flight system and GMS Shield Type 1.
There you go.
And a custom paint job.
There you go, yeah. The custom paint job is pretty fun because there's a system called structure in this game, which is when your mech takes enough damage, it has a chance to get destroyed or a bit blown off it or something. And you can roll on the paint job, and if you get a 6, it just scratches your paint instead.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fun.
That's awesome.
There used to be a real abusive thing with that system where you could stack them, and you could be like, it scratched one of my many paints that I have in my mech, and I sort of patch that at some point.
I like this.
Okay, so I took personalizations, custom paint job, stable structure.
Nice.
And then I did the jump jet system.
Nice. What are your personalizations to your mech? For me, I think my mech's got a cigar box and a cigar lighter. I think that's just it.
Well, personalizations does sound fun. I think I'm going to swap to that. Custom paint job's cool, but personalization adds a lot of nice flavor to it.
Yeah, it's fun. In Lancer, you have fairly low HP pools, and damage is pretty high, so any HP you can get is usually pretty useful.
Yeah. So I think my personalization for my mech is as I attack with my blades, my mech sings.
Oh, nice. Okay, I'm into that.
Dang.
What weapons do you end up taking, Amelia? What you slap on there?
Oh, where did that go? For my heavy weapon, I picked howitzer.
Oh, nice. Very good.
My main mount, I picked an assault rifle. And then the flex mount, I did a tactical melee weapon.
Nice. Excellent. Good choice. Good choice. You may.
I think my personalization, I want it to just like have a bunch of spikes on it.
Nice. Okay. I love that. And
I think this thing just like it looks like a piece of junk.
Yeah.
It looks like it was like put together. Like, do you remember Junkyard Wars?
Yeah.
That shit, like it used to be. Like, I feel like this looks like it could have been made there.
Oh, it's amazing.
Very nice. Yeah, it's so like license level 0, you're gonna have the same mech, and you're gonna basically have a very limited list of options. As you can see, we're actually finished, by the way. That's it. We made characters.
We did.
Oh, wow.
If you'd like, we can pick some pilot gear. Would you like to do that? That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome.
Pilot gear is real simple. You pick it before you go on a mission, and that will be on page 108 in the book.
Okay.
You get 2 weapons, armor, and up to 3 other pieces of gear, just like stuff you can take with you. Because stuff outside of a mech in Lancer is fairly narrative, the pilot gear similarly is quite narrative. It doesn't really have a lot of gameplay effects, so you generally just pick stuff that's interesting to you. A fun thing is, though, you can roll for some of these weapons, because they're sort of generic, to figure out like a unique feature here. So for my pilot's weapons, I think I'm going to have an archaic ranged weapon, which is going to be a old Schofield revolver.
Nice.
And I'll roll for a little feature there on that D6 table. Let's find out what's special about this weapon. It's ancient in design. Well, that's true. And then I'm going to get a hard suit, which is on page 110. That's like the armor your pilot might be wearing. I'm just going to get a light hard suit. That might change your pilot's HP or evasion. It's mostly just for flavor. There used to be a much more robust pilot gear system in the game, but we cut it down a lot because it was kind of distracting from the core experience, which is giant robots. And then for gear, you can find that from page 112 to 114. Just random little pilot things you can pick up. I am going to pick frag grenades for my pilot in case I'm caught outside of my mech, and that could be bad. I'm going to get, extra rations and an Omni hook, which is like a cool future radio. You'll notice like only some of this has like actual gameplay effects. The other stuff's just mostly for flavor.
I think I'll go with the combat alloy composite weapon.
There you go.
And that's just like a generic melee weapon, right?
That's right, yeah. You can choose what it looks like, whether it's an axe or a sword or what have you.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to keep with my sword motif.
Oh, get an extra sword.
Yeah. So when I get out, I still have a sword.
Nice. Perfect.
Just because you kind of have to. I guess I can go with like a sidearm as well, just in case.
I want to see one of you roll on those notable features tables, because those are pretty fun. So just a D6.
I feel like I just want to have a sidearm.
Yeah, I know. Totally. Oh, let me roll a feature for my hard suit. Here we go.
Oh, variable damage. So you choose what damage it comes with, right?
You can, yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's see.
My hard suit is incredibly outdated or an old model. Apparently, my guy just loves old stuff. He's maybe he's a hipster about he's old-fashioned about things.
So could I?
All right, mine is apparently plain or mass-produced.
Nice.
Ooh, where's the random table? I heard dice.
Yeah, there's a random table on page 108.
Oh, fun.
In the core book.
Notable features.
Yeah, you can roll them for your weapons or armor.
I need a D6. I found it. Ooh, this weapon is ornate and ceremonial, perhaps a badge of office.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm thinking like a very ornate sword.
Cool.
I like that.
I really like including little tables and stuff in the game like that. Because it gives you prompts to kind of think about your character.
I like that a lot. And then for my sidearm, signature range sidearm, notable feature. This weapon makes an amazing show, giving off an enormous amount of noise, smoke, light, and so on when it fires.
Nice.
Which is amazing because I pictured it as a tiny energy pistol.
Oh, cool. So you got like a little noisy cricket.
Yeah. I'm thinking, what was it? Men in Black?
Yeah.
That had the very tiny like energy pistol.
That's right.
But like it had a big kick.
Perfect.
I think that's amazing. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of gear too.
There is, yeah. But a lot of it's just there for flavor or use.
Ooh, patch, gotta have that.
Mm-hmm. It's cool. It's more like cool universe building stuff.
Yeah, I like it.
Like the stuff like this, the Sylph, which is a semi-biological undersuit, which Smith Shimano Corpora, which is kind of like the anime mech corporation.
Yeah,
has like bioengineers to like hang out with you.
This is really cool. Info skin. Oh, wow.
It's the kind of things where it's like, I don't necessarily have to write in-depth rules for them because you can tell your GM, like, yeah, I have a cool like info skin thing. And, I use it to change my appearance and walk in. Mm-hmm. Oh, there we go. If you're ever confused about the iconography, terminology or stuff, there's a very good summary of general things on page 116, which tells you about some of the icons and stuff in the game.
Okay.
But it's unless you've read through the combat rules and stuff, it would be a little obtuse.
Yeah.
But you can kind of get the gist of it. It's very important to me that people can understand roughly what things are about by looking at the mech and by just reading about the various systems without even knowing what the actual gameplay effects are.
Yeah.
That you can. That's why flavor plays an important role, I think, is that you can be like, yeah, I've got the howitzer, and I don't know what loading is, but I know it's a howitzer.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right.
So I've got my gear.
Yeah.
Went with a patch, a sound system.
Nice.
And a flex suit.
Very good.
And the flex suit lets me, it's like a strong underclothing suit that recycles water, generates nutrients, and adapts to very hostile environments.
Yeah, it's a bit like a still suit from Dune, but legally distinct.
Right.
What you grabbed there, Amelia?
I am still looking because I had to go.
No sweat.
With children.
I really like the variable, how it's just like, this is a type of weapon or a type of equipment, and you get to figure out kind of what it looks like and feels like.
Yeah, very much. For the pilot stuff, at least, it was important. We kept it pretty loose. Mm-hmm. The focus is already a lot of like mech choices to make, so you just want to make sure, like, yeah, pick the stuff if you like. Pick it if it's not necessarily that important. So
yeah,
it's more for flavor and than anything. So that actually is a completed character. Once you have those things selected, that's it. That's all you need to do.
I love this.
Which is probably not too. It's a little more complicated than some games, but it's and the Comcom makes it a very streamlined process.
Yeah.
And it gets a lot more complicated, obviously, as you continue playing the game. But this is the first thing you'll get into, is just playing at LL0. At 1, you get to pick up your first mech license.
Yeah.
So you'll see, just past everything else in the book, you'll find the lists of the 4 different mech manufacturers, the 28 different mechs. And of course, you're picking those one license at a time. So it's not like you have to make a tremendous amount of decisions. And if you flip through those mechs, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to tell instantaneously, just by looking at them and the names of the things that come with those mechs, the kinds of things you're going to want to get into. Like if you want to be a fast, agile melee attacker, you're going to want to look at the Morning Cloak, probably, which is on page, let's have a look, there's a tab here, page 180. And you can go see a picture of that in page 181. And if that's your jam, then that's what you should go for when you level up.
Oh, yeah.
Or like the Nelson, which is on page 141, which is a IPSN really fast melee attacker that loves to attack and kind of jet around. And Amelia, you want to go for more of like a tough melee mech is my intuition.
Yep.
Then, you even have a spiky mech right now. You might want to go for the Vlad, which is on page, you can find a picture of that in page 153. So when you level up that character, I would go for Vlad. Vlad's pretty tight.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Or,
Yes, good.
Or you might want to go for the Baylor, which is a Horus mech on page 193. That's like a regenerating mech with nanobot whiffs and stuff, like crazy stuff like that. So right now at the level we're at, we're just picking the basic stuff. But when you level up, you'll get a license, and then you can kind of get into the crazy stuff, which is way more unique.
Yeah. I like that you can pick a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
For your gear, so I did.
Nice.
Seems reasonable. I picked a sleeping bag, extra rations, and stims.
Wow, that's very practical of you.
The sleeping bag is great because it's also sealed against void, so you can get space in that thing and be fine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. High quality sleeping bag.
I thought we are done with the character creation. But there is actually a section in the GM section for the first, well, actually, it might even be in the player section for first session stuff to figure out the kind of group you are. Would you guys like to do that? There's some random tables in there.
Well, I think we have a section in our discussion part.
Do you really? Awesome.
To do some like groups of, I call it our fanfic section.
Okay.
So I think maybe we can do that there if we're
I think that'd be pretty cool.
Totally.
All right.
Totally. So there's a bunch of random tables for figuring out like group identity, motivation, that kind of stuff, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That would be the perfect spot.
So for our listeners, you'll have to tune in next time for that.
Yeah. And we don't have to do our closing thing because we already did that. I'm so thrown off.
Yes, this is non-linear podcasting.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Okay, so do you want, Ryan, we should stop this recording and start a new one, right?
Yes.
I mean, because I edit the third part, so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Is there anything else that we want to say before we head to the thing that we already did?
It was fun. It was fun to make characters with you guys. Thanks for letting me walk you through it.
Yeah, I really like this. I like the possibilities, and it's really tickling my like 1990s brain of playing lots of Mech Warrior 2 on the Super Nintendo. And then Armored Core in the early aughts.
I love Armored Core.
Yeah.
It probably shows.
Yeah. Yeah, the customizations is just like, ooh, yes, more, gimme. It's
Here's
so
the
good.
thing. I have zero familiarity with any kind of mech genre anything. But this was still a lot of fun.
Oh, nice. Good.
I enjoyed this.
My hope is that if you have no familiarity with it, that if you, in the future, when you're leveling up your character or thinking about places to take your character, you can just flip through the art in the mech compendium and decide based on that which things you want to be playing based on how cool they look, which is how I usually do things.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I've watched as like the art has been released on Twitter and everything too, and I'm like,
yeah,
that looks fun.
Very nice.
There's a lot of good stuff in here. Very cool. Well, thank you both so much for joining us for our Lancer character creation episodes. Tom, do you want to go ahead and remind people where they can find you online?
You can get me on my webcomic site, which is kill6billiondemons.com. You can also find my comic Kill 6 Billion Demons published with Image Comics. There's probably a 4th volume coming out this year, I hope, fingers crossed. You can also find me on Twitter at Orbital Dropkick.
And Miguel, where can people find you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm on Twitter. You can find me at the one Lopez. It's going to be capital T HE _ capital ONE _ capital LOPEZ. You can also find Lancer and follow us on Twitter, or follow the game on Twitter at Lancer _ RPG. And you can get, we mentioned earlier in the episode that you can find most of our stuff for free or buy the PDF right now. If you just go to Massif, you just go to itch.io and search Massif Press, MASSIF.
Massif Press.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you to everybody out there for listening. Please join us on the next episode for our discussion block. Character Creation Cast is a production of the One Shot Podcast Network and can be found online at www.charactercreationcast.com. Head to the website to get more information on our hosts, this show, and even our press kit. Character Creation Cast can also be found on Twitter at CreationCast or on our Discord server at discord.charactercreationcast.com. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Bolter, and I can be found on Twitter at Lord Neptune or online at lordneptune.com. Our other host, Amelia Antrim, can be found on Twitter at Ginger Reckoning. Music for this episode is used with a Creative Commons license or with permission from the podcast they originated from. Further information can be found within the show notes. Our main theme music is Hero Remix by Steve Combs and is used with a Creative Commons license. This podcast is owned by us under Creative Commons. This episode was edited by Ryan Bolter. Further information for the game systems used and today's guests can be found in the show notes. If you'd like to leave us a rating or review, we have links to various review platforms out there, including Apple Podcasts, in our show notes. Also, check the show notes for links to our other projects. Thanks for joining us, and remember, we find that the best part of any role-playing game is character creation. So go out there and create some amazing people. We will see you next time.
Now we gotta read some show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Character Creation Cast is hosted by the One Shot Podcast Network. If you enjoyed our show, visit One Shot Podcast.
Just keep going.
If you enjoyed our show, visit oneshotpodcast.com, where you'll find other great shows like Backstory.
Backstory is a cozy, thoughtful interview show featuring the most fascinating folks in role-playing. Join host Alex Roberts as she gets to know game designers, LARP writes, scholars, community organizers, and more. From emerging artists to seasoned veterans, guests open up about their creative process, what keeps them engaged, and their visions for the future of role-playing.